Welcome to the last show of NXT. Now, I have now uploaded my best matches for 2022. It was only single matches, not tag teams, triple threats, or anything like that. It's just straight one-on-one. I hope you enjoy them. I should have added a couple of more, but I kind of got sidetracked trying to explain what was going on in the background of each show, dealing with each company. So, if you don't like it, I understand. If you do like it, good. Okay, here we go. Here we go with NXT. Now, this is a wrap-up of the entire year. And they're basically winding down many feuds and starting new ones. And they are keeping a couple of them because they got to carry them over to the next year, like Braun Breaker dealing with Grayson Waller. That one, I don't really need to explain it. Yes, I could talk about the vid pack that Grayson Waller did and him being back at Sydney. No, you know what? I will talk about it. Did it look good? Yeah. Did Braun Breaker do anything? No. Pretty much he got stopped in the middle of watching the video and he got pissed off breaking the TV. But this was about trying to make Grayson Waller as really credible as possible. That's it. That's all it was. But that's one of the few feuds that they are carrying over to the next year. Now, what do we have here for JD McDonough versus a Julius Creed? A good match, but here's the problem. Yes, I understand that JD had to lose. I know he had to lose because you're trying to build up, excuse me, you're trying to build up the Creed brothers, you're trying to build up Julius and Brutus to go up against Alan Shearer. You're doing that, and that's what happened. They believe they're not credible enough to go up against them. When is their next one? It's like January 10th. I believe that is, I forgot which one it is. New Year's, I forgot the name of it right now, but they are having a pay-per-view, I think, January 10th. But that's for the pay-per-view. They're going to have their match there, which is fine. I got no problem with it. It's good to see they're going to make sure the Creeds and Alan Shearer are going to have what they need. But then you think of JD McDonough. Guys, Jay McDonough, I think I'm getting pissed here. Pretty pissed. Because one of the few people that we've seen from NXT UK on a constant basis is literally getting nothing. Nothing. He's jobbing most of the time. Yeah, he gets a few moments like what he did to Axiom and twist his leg the way he did. Luckily, Axiom's leg can handle that. But the point is, what does this really give JD? He's a sawed-off runt that can't get the job done. And he's supposed to be really substantial. And he can't get the job done when it's necessary. Now, either this year they're going to reboot his entire character, or they'll finally decide, this guy has been consistent even though we had to make him job. Let's give him a run and make him be something. That's the big question right now, because as it stands right now, as far as I can tell, when they go with JD McDonough, he's nothing but a damn jobber now. And he has a decent character. He has a good work ethic. He does have good work in the ring, and he knows how to put people over and knows how to twist them into a pretzel. I just don't think they're going to do anything with him, but I'm hoping I'm wrong. Let's move on. Now, what do I actually say about Cora Jade versus Julia? What was this for? I know they have to end the feud between them because they had it for at least a month or two, and that's Wendy Choo. But does this actually help really Cora Jade, who's more substantial than Wendy Choo at this point? Now, I'm not saying she's great, but they've been putting a lot of stock in her for this year. They made her very important. Hell, she has a black kendo stick. And you see Wendy Choo, and I like Wendy Choo. She has a good character. She's fun going, and when it's time to take the brakes off and go forward, she can. But do you actually believe it was good to let Wendy Choo win here? I don't think so. I don't think it was necessary for her to win. Not unless there was some type of stipulation, which there wasn't. I can understand it. Just wanted to end it, and hopefully this is over now. That Wendy Choo won, Cora Jade will go off and do something else. But I'm kind of like with JD McDonough, that you've done so much with Cora Jade, particularly when it came to Roxanne Perez, and she's gone from here to here, and now with Wendy, she's like here. Now, unless they're gonna give her something new or reboot her, she's here. It doesn't mean she's gone and hit flat, but it's like she's sinking. So the question is, what are they gonna do with her next year? It's a big question. Now that they ended this between the two, and it was not a bad match, but I'm wondering where they're gonna go with this. Now, did I care about Abba Fire? How can I say this? When it comes to Dawn and Abba Fire, Isla Dawn and Abba Fire feel like they were rushed. You know why? Because Abba Fire had this feud with Mandy Rhodes, and yes, it's already been known Mandy is not with the company right now. But it does not mean you have to throw Isla Dawn at her yet. Isla Dawn should have had time to build up against someone else other than Alba Fire. It just doesn't feel like she should have been doing it so quickly. Now they're supposed to have what is it? Anything Goes, and that might be at the pay-per-view. Which, fine, that's something that can be done with them. But then what does this really give? Two women who really needed a rise on their own. Alba Fire has had a good year for what few months she's been on the roster, finally being shown. But I feel like she needed more time. And then Isla Dawn has just shown herself. And literally, it's too soon. And even though JD can't stand her, or maybe just Alex can't stand her, we've had gimmick characters for years. Some of them work, some of them flop. But when it comes to it, we give them time to develop. And she does seem to be capable of wrestling. She does have charisma. But now you throw her at Alba Fire so soon, and I feel like it's wrong. Even if people watched NXT UK and they had feuds over there, this is not what you do it here in NXT. You need to give these two women time to breathe and then bring them together, because many fans have never seen her before. They're only just getting used to Alba Fire. Now you throw Isla Dawn there, it's dumb. I just feel like they rushed it. And they're trying to use the matches to get them both over when they need character development. And that leads me to Laura Valkyria versus Last Legend. Guys, you know what, this feels really weird? See it like this. Let's say Last Legend was the same size as I forgot her name, Valkyria. And Valkyria was Last Legend's size. I could buy Valkyria as a basketball player at that size. I can buy a Last Legends being the size of Valkyria. But then when you bring these two women together with the characters they have, they seem to be the reverse. I'm just saying, it seems like Last Legends should be Valkyria and Valkyria should be Last Legends because of their size. And when you look at the match, who looks the greenest there? Literally, I think Last Legends actually, when she decided to do started doing backflips and tried to land on Valkyria, she might have actually hurt her knee. She may have actually hurt her knee. That was the dumbest thing she should have done. She's trying to show off, and she might have legitimately hurt herself. I'm hoping I'm wrong, and I'm hoping she didn't really hurt her knee, because she was grabbing it a lot after the match was over. And when I look at Valkyria, and seeing her as such a small woman with the name of Valkyria, and yes, I believe she was used to be in MMA. I believe she was. And she has possibly an MMA background. I could be wrong. But still doesn't feel like it. That's just me, guys. Tell me below. Hopefully I'll get one over. I will get it over. Let's move on. Now, Ikemen versus Scripps, due to the fact that Scripps 2 weeks ago attacked him after his match and then took his yellow jacket. I have only seen him a few times. I have not seen him in the back to see how his character works. For what little I have seen him, he's charismatic. Does he talk well? Not everyone does. Look, I'm a New Yorker and I don't even talk that good. There are people who come from Europe who talk 10 times better than me, not because they have a British accent. They can have an accent and they talk better than me. So it's not his accent that I have a problem with. It's his exposure that I have a problem. Because as far as I can tell, they barely use him. They barely use him on the main roster. I know they got 2 hours, but if he's been around there for a while, don't you think if he does have something, they show it? But this is what we got. And it's not the match that was the issue here. It just feels like when it comes to Jiro, I just feel that they should be showing him more so he'll feel more important. Even the crowds have seen him well before I have. I've been only doing NXT reviews for barely maybe near half a year, as much as I could. So, of course, I still have more to know about him because very rarely I've ever seen him. Well, has it been half a year or has it been maybe about 3 or 4 months? I don't even remember how many months I've been doing this. But essentially, I haven't seen him enough to actually see if he's important because they rarely show him. I'm just saying. Now, the 6-man tag, Schism versus Odyssey Jones, Blade, and Ife. I believe I got his name right. Maybe Ife, I believe. Here's the thing. Was this trio together important? No. Was it Schism? Yes. Schism's important. Then seeing Alva, what is her name? What is her? I forgot what The Rock's daughter is because I haven't seen her in a bit. And that's Alva Rain. She messed with Booker T. It seems like everybody likes to mess with Booker. What is it with Booker T these days? People like to mess with him. Grayson Waller messed with him. Then it was somebody else that messed with him after that. Can't remember who. Then it's now Reigns messing with him. What's going on? Everyone mad at him or something? And I do have to say this about Dick Joseph. I really do believe this coming year, I hope they change him out. Because I don't hate Vic Joseph. But to be honest, I'm not feeling him in there. This show, I did not feel him at all. He was trying so hard to put people over. It felt like he was trying too hard. It's like he wants to get noticed and move up to the main roster, and he's trying too hard. And Booker T's just being Booker T. Fine. Booker T's not a bad commentator, but he's not a great one either. He's just the middle of the road. But Vic Joseph's supposed to lead everything, and he's been... And then this episode, he was trying so hard to put over everyone. And he was trying to like this, particularly when it came to Fallon and Akita and their match. He was trying so hard to sell it. And it turned me off. And let's get to that. The one match that shouldn't end, that's Akita James versus Fallon Henley. And that is for the ownership of the bar. Now, here's the thing. Jensen is smitten by James. It is obvious. Admittedly, I have been getting Jensen and Biggs mixed up who was doing it because I've been paying direct attention because they still haven't really gone there enough there. Well, they still haven't gone there enough with both of them. And that's Akita and Jensen. They just haven't done it enough. But it's there. But this didn't need to be stopped here. What should have happened, Akita James should have won the match. Akita James gets ownership of the bar. But instead of destroying them or demolishing the bar, she decides because something happens that she'll keep it open for a while. And since the family needed money and work and wrestling isn't enough, guess what? She approaches Fallon and said, look, I'm not going to destroy the bar because I've noticed there's been an uptick in the area, even though I want to build my condos there, and I am still going to do it, but I'm not going to build exactly in your same spot. I'm building around it. And I see an uptick. I'll give you an opportunity. You can work at your old bar. And she works there until there's a fight, until she gets the bar back. That sounds like it could be more interesting because then Fallon, let me give it to you like this. Other than the match, which was actually good, and you could see the difference between Fallon's in-ring skill versus Nikita James. And I do agree with JD that Nikita James is a better wrestler. She's got something. Her character, not feeling it. But when it comes to her charisma, it's good. Her mic work is really good. Her attitude in the ring is good. Her look, it needs work because I'm just not feeling the corporate woman who acting like a model. I'm just not. But she's got more than Fallon, and Fallon needs more development as a face because it's always been about Jensen and Biggs. If she had won the bar, and that is James, you could have done development for Fallon, which she badly needs. She needs development. She needs to be more presented on NXT. Needs to be seen as a credible face more than what she is because she doesn't have depth. She just is surface, and that's her problem. She's not a bad worker in the ring, but this is Nikita James. This is Fallon. She's not a bad wrestler. She's a bit below her. But the problem is, here's Fallon in character. Well, without the character, the way they got it right now, it just doesn't work. But her ring work, her mic skills, her charisma, it's here. Fallon is here. And it's not because of her ring work. And it's not 100% about her mic skills. It's about her development as a wrestler to be able to carry that character. She's in the right character. But she needs more development to make that character feel more fleshed out. And it's just not there. I'm just saying. Now, let's see here. What's next? The Drew Gulak Invitational, where Hank was standing there watching 3 jobbers get submitted. Each jobber was a beginner, an intermediate, and someone who could be near pro. And Drew basically stretched them, got a little trouble with the second one because he easily did the first one. He somewhat had a problem with the second one because he was an amateur wrestler, but he was able to out-wrestle him. And then the third one, who was practically a pro, obviously had a major problem, and he wanted to make an example of him and held his submission on way longer than the other two to make sure that Hank understands the first one, when they tap, let them go. The second one, remember always to let them go. But sometimes you need to grind it in to make them really understand that you're the best. And he made it very clear about that, at least until Charlie Dempsey comes out, the son of William Regal. And he says, oh, you want to have an invitation? You didn't invite me. Let's have one next week. So now next week, it's going to be supposedly Hank going up against Charlie. It's not going to be Drew. So do I believe that's the wisest thing to do? I think it was Charlie going up against Hank. That's the way they described it. But do I believe this is the wisest thing to do? No. What I would have liked is to give 2 weeks at least for Hank to at least look like he's getting trained by Drew before he deals with Dempsey, and then Dempsey deals with Drew himself straight. And that's what I want to see directly. That's what I really want. I think that would really help Hank. It will help Dempsey, at least until his dad shows up, because even though he's now released from AEW, I doubt he'll be on screen yet. I don't believe he'll be on screen. At least not yet. Possibly later. But at least it would drag it out until time when his father does show up on screen. Either to be the GM again, or to be the manager of his own son. That, I think, would be really good. But that's just me. Finally, the final match. And that is the North American title. That is for Tony D'Angelo versus Wesley. Now, did I believe that this was a good match? Yes, it was. Did I believe that Tony was going to win? No. Did he need to win? No. But did I wish it had been DQ'd in some way? Yes. Because for me personally, I want to see him go after him eventually. But now, instead of that, you're having now Dijak working with Tony D'Angelo, because Dijak went and grabbed Stax as the match was going on, because Stax didn't interfere with anything. It was only Tony D trying to injure West because he wanted to get revenge because of his knee. because West supposedly blew it out. And that makes sense. But here, now Dijak supposedly interfered with the match when Stacks didn't even go near the ring. He just grabbed him and grabbed him away due to the fact that how Stacks went supposedly to Dijak and told him, don't get in the way of the Don or you're going to pay for it. Supposedly, but he didn't say it. He said it outside his door. So the question is, was this the wise decision to end it like this? Honestly, yes and no. Because they're going to say, well, he was interfered because of Stacks getting attacked. But it would have been better if there had been real full interference because Stacks was grabbing at Whitley with the ref not being able to see. And then Dijak would make more sense, but then Dijak's not that type of character. He's just going to take you out. So Don will go after him, and they'll have the feud with that. Is it the wise thing to do? I knew they'll eventually have to have a feud because they both want the North American title. But the way this is, I don't know if it was the right thing. But I could be wrong about that. So overall, did NXT over this year been good? Let's put it like this. The beginning of this year, NXT sucked. To the middle of this year, NXT sucked. Now, by September to October, I will say it changed. I'm not saying it's great change. I'm just saying it did change. You could see the difference. That from maybe July into September into October was kind of like a somewhat of a transition where it was like this, barely going up, and then coming to here. That's where NXT is. It's almost middle of the road. Middle of the road is here. Great is here. They're like here. This is here. So they were like this. Then they're beginning to come up and they're trying to go at least balanced. I'm not saying they're doing a great job with it. Of course, you can see how my feelings are. But you guys tell me below. And I hope you enjoyed this last show of 2022 for NXT. Leave a comment below. And I hope you did like my best matches of 2022. I don't know if I'm going to do any more. I am going to do Dynamite. I am going to see if I can do Rampage. And of course, there's going to probably be no Impact Wrestling. But maybe I might try to do something in between. I don't know yet. But you guys, peace.